welcome back. It is time for a video that is long overdue for multiple reasons. The first is because it's a review of a poetry book that I had said I would get to reading and hopefully reviewing a while back, and then another because I have some fun me-related book news. So life got away from me and I haven't done this at all as quickly as I wanted to, but here we are. I'm in a place to talk about the things now. So let's start with the one that I owe people for, kind of. So first off, we've got Nicholas Leonard's In a Stairwell. I read a previous one of his poetry collections, the Soliloquies from the House on the Hill, something like that. I forget the exact title. Which is bad on me. I should have prepped for this video better, but as I said, it's been a mess. So we're at least here, we're at least doing it. This one is more about heartbreak, vampires, ghosts, identity. Those are all the things on the blurb on the back, but I agree pretty much from having read them that that's basically what these poems are about. I think my biggest complaint for this one, and not that I have any right to judge for how you choose to title your poetry, but a good majority of the poems in this one are listed as untitled. And that's not an awful thing. Sometimes you just don't feel like a poem has a title. I've done untitled poems myself. However, when there's this many in a single volume, it makes it difficult to talk about them, especially since when I do these poetry videos, I do like to read a poem or so from within them, and in this case one of them is one of the entitled poems, so it's like I don't know how to distinguish it unless you have the same edition as me, which I don't know if you get the Kindle one, if it'll be the same page or anything, but I'm doing the best I can. So the one that I want to read that's an untitled from this one is on page 29, and it goes, "Isn't it odd? You never wanted my homemade pizza with garlic. And my love, you're always avoiding holy water and crosses. It's not odd. My hallway of boyish daydreams is spotless, never splotched, as all day I bake my eyes on the good. My love never eats garlic. She keeps her breath clean for me. Romantic." And it's one of those that, like the blurb for this one talks about, is one of the vampire-y ones, and I like how it's like a subtle vampire thing, because it talks about how you might just not want stinky breath, and so you're not eating garlic, but obviously that's also like a vampire thing, so that it's one of the themes in the books. Makes it fun that it's here's a little subtle vampire story for you, and I just thought it was really cute and sweet. Another one that I really liked is not an untitled one, so this one I can just give you the title of, so if you want to go read this one specifically for yourself. This one is called Campfire Cologne. Burning birch, cologne me, and hide my secrets from the world. Too solemn a smell to be the pine, the birch's scent is mine, and I burn the wood to hear something apologize. The world stopped saying sorry long ago. And I really liked the image that this one evoked. It reminds me of camping trips with and how the overwhelming smell of smoke after sitting in front of a campfire just clothes you like a cologne. So yeah, I really liked it. So that's some fun little highlights from this one. If you're looking for another fun poetry book, this might be a fun little one to go for. As with a lot of anthologies, this one's only about 100 pages, so it makes for a pretty quick read overall. I took longer than I meant to with it, but as I said, life got in the way, so it wasn't the book's fault, it was mine. So there's that. But yeah, this was another fun one. I also found out recently that Nicholas Leonard has another new one out, but this one's not actually a poetry one. Well, he said that it has sonnets in it, but I got a copy on my Kindle of his new one, and it's actually a novella, so prose and stuff, so I'm excited to dig into that and compare it to the poetry and see if I like all of his writing, just his poetry, that kind of thing, because sometimes people do really well with one or the other, sometimes they do well with both, and I'm generally in the mood for both, so it'll be fun to see if he meets the board across the board for me on all those things. That one, if you want to look it up, is called Penelope Phosphine. So that's another one to look up if you're interested in more reading from Nicholas Leonard from the little bit that I've talked about and you think that might be a fun one. Now, on to my other thing that I wanted to talk about, my own personal book news. This is my poetry book that I put out. I did it through Kindle, and I clearly don't understand book sizes because I did not mean for it to be this big of an edition. But here we are. This is my poetry book. It's called Serpentine Soliloquies. If you have been watching for a while, and even if you can see right there, I have pet snakes. So this is all about my experiences with pet snakes, also my time working at an aquarium taking care of reptiles and fish and other sort of scaly related things that way. So it's like part memoir, part just fun poetry. Well, I mean, it's everything written in it is a poem. But it's like part memoir, part just poetry, part just observations and life things. So if you happen to like snakes or anything, this might be a fun one to pick up. There is a physical form like this one if you don't mind having a ridiculously sized book. Or there's also a Kindle version that you can pick up. But yeah, I had a lot of fun writing this. I loved doing like a little memoir for myself with my snakes and all fun stuff that goes along with that. I've got a lot of different styles of poetry in here too. Some are kind of like rhyming poems, some are more like just telling the story in a sort of lyrical way. Some of them are rewrites of song lyrics, which is one of my favorite ways to do poetry, to be quite honest. But yeah, so if you're interested in a unique sort of style of memoir and you like poetry, maybe this will be a fun one for you to pick up too. But yeah, I just wanted to share my news and say that I've got a fun book out there too. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about any of this. So if you happen to want to pick up my book, I will leave a link for that down below. I can leave links for Nicholas Leonard stuff too if you're interested in any of that. But I think that's all I've got for now. This is the Umlaut Harper signing out.